All right, looks like we're live on YouTube. I'll check Facebook. All right. We'll let a few people join us here. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. All right, well, good morning. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another City Updates live broadcast. I'm Jamie Chavez, your host from the Westminster Chamber of Commerce, and we are thrilled to have you with us today. As always, we're here to bring you the latest insights straight from City Hall, featuring conversations with our councilors, mayor and mayor pro tem, and others from the city as well. It's your backstage pass to what's happening in Westminster. If this is your first time joining us for this broadcast, a special welcome to you. Thank you for being here with us. Feel free to like our Facebook page so that you will get notifications when we go live in the future. If you're on YouTube, you can hit subscribe and watch previous broadcasts there as well. On Mondays, the broadcasts are all about city updates. And on Wednesday, we offer a chance to meet the newest members of the chamber. So I hope you'll join us on Wednesday as well for to meet some of our new members. And then we also reserve the last Friday of the month for county updates, featuring Jeffco County Commissioner Tracy Kraft-Tharp. So stay tuned for that as well. And finally, as you watch this broadcast, please feel free to engage with us. Drop your comments, ask any questions, and we'll get to them during the interview. And we will get started. And a warm welcome this morning to City Manager Mark Freitag. How are you?
Good, Jamie. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, it's been a while, I guess. So what's going on down at City Hall?
Sure. Yeah, I got a few updates. Last time I was on the show was back at the end of February, and so very, very glad to provide another update of what's going on. I've got 7 items that I think are noteworthy for the community, specifically the business community, and so I'll share those as we go along over the next 20 minutes or so. First thing I'd share is that last time we talked, I mentioned or gave a precursor to a pending merger that we were going to do between our Economic Development Department and our Community Development Department. And that now is official. And with Dave Downing, our former Community Development Director's retirement after 43 and a half years of working with the city, we saw this as an opportunity to fold economic development back into community development. And so we went ahead and pulled the trigger on that, made that announcement official on March 7th. And so we're about 2 months into that. And Lindsay Kimball, our former Economic Development Department Director, has now become the new department director for a new organization, which we're calling the Community Services Department. And so if you think about merging economic development and community services together, it really creates a synergy inside the department where all things development are under one hat. And so no longer 2 silos, but instead a combined organization. And so inside of community services, with Lindsay as the department director, we've got 5 divisions which are subordinate to the department. So first, we have, and we've really kind of structured this so that it progresses, if you will, the development program progresses. So the first one is the Economic Development Division. And so, the folks that are out there making those contacts, bringing businesses and development opportunities to our community. So that's the Economic Development Division. And then we roll into the Planning Division, which is no change, as people submit plans and work out the details of the development. Planning Division. Then third is the Building Division, obviously. And those are all the folks that are there during the construction phase and permitting phases and certainly inspection phases. And so we've got that going on in Building Division. And then our 4th division is our Community Preservation Division, which are the folks that, make sure that we're all living appropriately, whether it's the residential side of the house or the commercial side of the house. But code enforcement, parking enforcement, those sorts of functions across our community. And then the last one is really a overarching division. And right now we're calling that real estate and sustainability. I'm not sure whether that term will last for the long haul, but the idea is that those 5 divisions really get you from inquiring or interested in coming to the community to long-term sustainability and endurance, if you will, across time. And so that's the new Community Services Department. As I mentioned, Lindsay Kimball is our new department director. We've also made 2 official hires. So the building division, Dave Horace, retired, and backfilling him is Samantha Everett. She goes by Sam, joins us from the city of Loveland, but a tenured chief building official. And so we're excited to have her join the team. And then the other one is John McConnell. John served as the interim planning manager for about 2 years at this point. We're going to announce him as the new planning manager officially tonight at the council meeting. But he's been doing the interim job for over 2 years. We did a national recruitment, and he simply continued to rise to the top of the interview panels. And so we'll make that announcement tonight with John as our official planning manager. And so that's just Community Services Department update. Second is RMMA, the Rocky Mountain Metropolitan Airport, seems to be something that's been talked about a lot over the last year plus. The city council had asked for a study session specifically focused on RMMA. And we really got a great program set up for next Monday evening. So May 20th, encourage folks to either attend or watch online or on YouTube. But we've got the Adams County Public Health Department coming in to speak. We've followed it up with the Jefferson County Public Health Department. And then the Jefferson County manager and his team are going to come in and talk specifically about what's going on at RMMA. So specifically where they're at in their recruitment efforts for a new executive director. 2, they're going to be removing one of the runways. And so what's the process procedure for removing that runway? And then 3rd, talking about expansion of the airport from a business perspective. So they have a lot of acreage, a lot of opportunity there. And so what does that mean for the communities that surround RMMA? But more importantly, I'm sure from the chamber's perspective, what's that business opportunity and that economic impact that an expansion at the airport would look like. And so got them all lined up, and we're still working a subject matter expert to come in and talk to us about just lead concerns in the community, whether they come from any runoff at the airport or, more importantly, as planes are approaching the airport or departing the airport. And so still working that angle, but May 20th will be focused on certainly RMMA. And so wanted to make sure that your team all knows about that. So that's RMMA. 3rd, this past week with the close of the legislative session, I'm sure that the chamber is tracking the transit-oriented communities bill passed. It was a revised vision or revised set of what was initially introduced, but casting. But there we go. We're back on camera. And so the city staff has taken a good hard look at what that means for the city and how we'll move forward with that. And so stand by for some summary notes provided to the council and the community about what that means for Westminster. Next thing I wanted to talk about briefly is the housing needs assessment. That was released and discussed at a city council meeting in April. Just as a reminder, the purpose or the objective of that housing needs assessment was to understand what our current housing supply is and what's changed over time and where we might have gaps or needs in our community. And so I wanted to share a few of those kind of summary notes with the chamber writ large. And that is, first of all, and I don't think any of these are surprises to folks, but the numbers, I find a little on the staggering side. And so I think we need to make sure that everybody is certainly attuned to this and understands. But the largest deficit of rental housing exists currently for our lowest income households, which is those that make 30% of the median household income, which is MHI. So there were 3,430 renter households within Westminster, with only 887 units available that these households could afford, which leaves a deficit of 2,500 plus units in our community. And so a significant need for those that are at 30% or less of that median household income. Second point I would make is the largest deficit of ownership housing exists for those households that make between 50 and 80% of that median household income. And that's a deficit of over 4,000 homes in our community, owned homes in our community. We also saw some large housing gaps for all other affordable and workforce housing income categories, with an additional deficit of 4,417 homes. And those numbers are pretty staggering for those that are working to provide services across our community. And so we've got some work to do there. Next data point, 82% of the city's 3,062 senior renter households are spending 30% or more of their income on rent, which makes them a cost burdened or a severely cost burdened group within our community. And so, again, we've got some work to do in our senior renter households. And then lastly, I would point out that there's a critical gap exists in our community, short 746 memory care units for folks to be in, and also 1,912 assisted living units that were short based upon our current demographics. I will remind the chamber and your membership that we do have a project that's been proposed on some property from Westminster Boulevard and 104th Southeast corner. Company Erickson came in back in December and provided a concept plan review. And so city staff has worked with them about bringing about 1,500 units. And that's progressive from independent living to assisted living to memory care to skilled nursing, et cetera, large complex and facilities. So there is a project to address some of these needs that's in the pipeline. Certainly doesn't cover all of the needs from a senior housing perspective. So that was the update on housing needs assessment. Staff's been working hard. Obviously, we all recognize affordable, attainable workforce housing is a shortfall for our community. And so on May 6th, the City Council did approve 3 projects that will bring new affordable and workforce housing to Westminster. So number one is the Overlook at Uplands will contain 247 units. And it's designed to serve larger families with children and households that earn between 40 and 70% of that median of the area median income. Second project is down at 3551 71st Avenue. It will bring 71 units of market rate housing, and it's the first new private sector led project in Westminster Station redevelopment activities in over a decade. So that was a significant improvement to housing in and around Westminster Station. And then the last one is at 3699 West 73rd Avenue. It's a project which frankly takes an old office building and converts that to some apartments. And we're excited about that because it really gets to the redevelopment aspect of where the community's heading. And I think it's important for the community certainly to appreciate that we have about 2.5% of our land or space remaining that is undeveloped in Westminster. We are landlocked, and so if we want to grow, we've got about 2.5% of our land available for development, and then we turn into, I would estimate, in the next 5 to 10 years, what's referred to as a redevelopment community, where we end up having to reuse what we currently have, or take something down, demolish it, and then rebuild on site. So that's going to be a significant change for our community. Real quick, I'm looking at my time, about 5 or so minutes left. A downtown update. Want to make sure that the community is aware that this past Monday, May 6th, Vato's Tacos and Tequila opened up in downtown Westminster. It's right there at the Aspire building on our Central Square Plaza. We're very, very excited about them joining the downtown business community and offering another amenity for our community. They offer street tacos, burritos, enchiladas, other food items made with fresh local ingredients. I understand they're open from breakfast through dinner, so that's a nice add into our downtown. It is the 4th location for them here in the area, and they will do a grand opening in June, as I understand. So excited to have them open. And then lastly, in the downtown, just a reminder that the city council did approve the construction of our downtown center park. We'll come up with the name as we work through this process, but they'll break ground here this summer on that downtown center park. And it's a $10+ million project. Will be another just amazing amenity for our larger community, and specifically in the downtown. We expect it to be completed in 2025. So break ground this summer, and then take a year for that to begin to be open. Right now, as someone who lives in the downtown, that's an area where a lot of folks take their dogs to walk. And so here on June 10th, we'll be bringing to the council a temporary dog park site with a concession stand, so that folks have a place to go with their dogs while that center park is being constructed. And so bringing that to the council on June 10th. And then lastly, I know that you're aware of this, Jamie, but and your board members, but one of the things that the city's recognized we have to work on is our roadway improvement fee. It's $6 right now per parcel, but it doesn't necessarily depend on which parcel. So a single family resident is paying the same as Walmart or another large commercial entity. And so we've got to figure out what that balance looks like and what that appropriate number looks like. I've talked to you previously, and I think it's something that certainly the city and the business community, along with our residential community, will need to roll our sleeves up and really look hard at what that looks like and what's fair and appropriate across the community. I know that part of my rent in the downtown goes towards that as a studio apartment. A single family apartment's paying the same thing. Walmart's paying the same thing. And that, that's a head scratcher for many of us. So looking to work together to come up with a better way to collect that fee and pay for our roads across the community. So just wanted to end it there. Lots of other great things going on in the community. I'm happy to answer any questions, but city staff is, we want to remain accessible, responsive, transparent, and certainly accountable for all that we do. And happy to take any questions at this point.
Awesome. We'll give it a couple minutes to see if anyone's got any. In the meantime, I'm curious if there's ever any collaborating with neighboring municipalities in any of these efforts or challenges that the city of Westminster faces.
Yeah, it depends on whether we share a common purpose or goal, but we do, always, whenever we're working on a project, what do other folks do? And so we look at other peer communities from as far north as Fort Collins to as far south as Pueblo. We generally stay on the Front Range as far as, looking at how other communities here are doing things. It goes to personnel issues within the city. It goes to, enterprise funds like water and wastewater and what are other folks doing. And certainly, in the roadway improvement fee and how we pay for that, how we do that, is something that we look at across the Front Range at, what is the best practice, or is there another novel idea that's out there that we can learn from and perhaps emulate. Certainly don't want to recreate the wheel if we don't have to, but if someone's got a better way, we're certainly excited and want to know about that.
Yeah. Awesome. And are there any upcoming events or initiatives that you want people to be aware of?
Yeah, I would tell you just near term, next Saturday is our Armed Forces Day celebration, an opportunity to, celebrate those that have served in the branches of the military. So Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, Merchant Marines, and our newest branch of service, the Space Force. And so excited about that. That'll be at the Armed Forces Tribute Garden Saturday morning, 10 o'clock. Our guest speaker is Marine Corps Colonel retired Don Davis. He's the former Jefferson County manager, and then most recently has served as the Broomfield City and County Deputy Manager. So, always well attended. I went to my first one last year, and we were easily 100 plus folks in attendance. And then in November we did a Veterans Day ceremony, also with very good attendance. But those seem to be our two veteran-centric celebrations that we'll do. And so since you ask, I'll make a plug for folks coming out and enjoying hopefully a beautiful Saturday morning, but more importantly, just celebrating the branches of service that our country is so proud to have, but also fortunate to have.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Thank you. We've got a question from Parker. The Denver PD and Council has made some news regarding low-level infractions not being cared about anymore. Have we looked into any of this? I hope not, as I think we need some additional staffing in the PD, but any thoughts?
Yeah, not aware of what Denver PD is doing. I am meeting this afternoon with Chief Haubert. I do that regularly on Monday afternoons, but I'll certainly ask him, and I can follow up with you, Jamie, and you can share with the membership. But nothing that I'm aware of, and we can certainly get an update from Chief Haubert to see whether there's anything that we would do. But I'm not inclined. I think we have one of the feedback pieces that we had out of our budget town hall that the city council hosted on Thursday evening was people enjoyed living in a very, very safe community. That theme came out from the different little work tables that we have. And so I would offer that, people feel very, very safe with the current laws that are on the books. And, I certainly would want to continue that. But I'll get an update from Chief Haubert and share that back with you.
All right. Sounds great. Doesn't look like we've got any other questions. So if you have anything else that you would like to share, please feel free. We have a few more minutes in the broadcast.
Yeah, I would just, I'm wrapping up 18 months here. Very, very excited to be here in Westminster. Enjoy the interaction with the community, and just make a plug for the chamber. I certainly appreciate your new leadership and what you've done for the chamber these last 6 months. It's been wonderful, and look forward to continued partnership. But we've got a great city team. They very, very proud of what they do and how they serve this community, and excited about where we're going in the future. But like I said, that transition from a developing and growing community to a redeveloping community, that's going to be something that the chamber and the city are going to have to partner on as to what that looks like for Westminster. And that's, it's a longer term project, 5 to 10 years. But as I've told the staff here, we really need to think about what does that mean from a financial revenue generation perspective. The common sense in me tells me that if you're not growing on land that's currently undeveloped, then that means that your development will slow down a little bit, and you may see a plateauing or leveling out of your revenues minus inflation. And so that means revenues aren't coming in at the same rate as we would think that they would. And so that means that, there's only so much available. And so what I've asked the team to do is we really, really need to spend some time looking to make sure that we are spending money from the right funds, because coming from a community in Wisconsin where, it was a struggle to make ends meet, you want to make sure that you're spending money from the right accounts. And that is your enterprise funds, water, wastewater, stormwater, are covering those costs. And your general fund is used for only those things that must be paid for by general fund, because there's not another funding source out there. And so I think that as a community, we've got some work to do to figure out what that looks like here in the next 5 to 10 years.
Awesome.
All right.
And then one final question for you. I know you do a lot of meetings out at coffee shops in Westminster. So I'm wondering, what are your top 3 favorite coffee shops?
Yep. Well, I will tell you that I really, I certainly enjoy a good cup of coffee, and I know you do too. We meet, regularly at coffee shops across the city, but just because it's super, super convenient, going to Sweet Bloom downtown is a favorite, because it's a 5-minute or less walk from my apartment. So that's a nice place to go. I always tend to head out on 112th, just east of Federal, to Zoe's. That's a favorite. I met Judy Pepper in the Rotary, I guess a year ago or so, and she owns and operates that. So I like to be able to support her local business. And then where we met last time was down at Subjective, down on 72nd Avenue, a newer coffee location. But as you were kind enough to comment on, the coffee is delicious. And so would encourage folks to check out Subjective if they haven't been down there. So there's 3 of my simple favorites, but those are the ones that I guess I would most frequent.
Yeah, that coffee at Subjective was really good. So definitely, if you haven't been in there yet, check it out. So
absolutely. Awesome.
Well, thank you for joining me today, and thank you for everybody who joined to watch. And I hope everybody has a good week. We'll talk soon.